Okay, I know it's a little awkward that I'm making a video like this and I don't have any footage or any screenshots, and I really hate to do a video like this where I have nothing to show. I mean, I'll be using some text to try to manipulate what I'm saying, but yeah, well. Anyways, these are 3 arcade games that I loved in the arcade, but they were very, very, very overlooked. And in my opinion, 2 of them should have been brought home to the consoles. One of them, not so much, but I'll get into that. Okay, the first one I want to talk about. This was a game based on a Disney cartoon coming out in the early 90s, mid 90s somewhat. The game was based on the Disney cartoon called The Cowboys of Moo Mesa. What it was basically a ripoff of Turtles in Time. Yeah, that's pretty much all it was. It was a side-scrolling beat-em-up game. And you could have 4 players. I think it was 4 players. So you could have 4 people at the screen at one time. It was pretty average. So why am I talking about it? Well, it had something that other arcade games didn't have. See, all you had to do was just put the quarter in once, and that was it. I know, sounds weird, huh? Well, here's what I mean. It had a glitch in it, where if you got game over, and everybody who put in a quarter was playing, all you had to do was hit the buttons as fast as you could, and the game would reset itself, and you got a free game. Now imagine being a kid in Vegas. I don't live in Vegas, but I go there for vacation sometimes, visit my grandparents. But imagine being a kid in an arcade, and your dad gives you about $5-10 to play in the arcade for a whole day. And all you need to do is spend 1 quarter to play throughout the entire day. Come on, that's like every kid and even a parent's dream to have their child busy, and all it costs them is a quarter. In my opinion, that's just, you can't beat that. Well, you can, but only if the glitch worked for another game. But it was a pretty average, generic side-scrolling beat-em-up. Nothing all that special. It pretty much was Turtles in Time with the Disney cartoon slapped on it. Moving on to the next one. And I feel really, really embarrassed about this. For the love of all that is holy, I cannot remember the name of this crazy game. I know, how am I supposed to talk about this game if I don't even remember the name? Well, if you ever saw this game, you'd know right away what I'm talking about. You wouldn't even need a name. You just go, oh, that's what he was talking about. Because here's how this game works. There are no buttons. There are no control sticks. There's no steering wheel. No, this isn't a DDR game. No, this isn't a whack-a-mole game. So what the heck is this thing? Well, here's how it works. The way the game works is there's a handlebar, and it's on an axis that can rotate 180 degrees, and it has a very long range too. You use the handlebar on the axis to move the character around. You use that to dodge obstacles and collect things. It was WarioWare before WarioWare was WarioWare. But what made this even more special was it was 2 players. There were 2 handles. Now, if you are really competitive, then I recommend that you do not play this game, because the way it works is you were constantly butting heads over those handles, because you were constantly trying to force the other guy out of the way. It was hysterical. But if you were violent, yeah, you would. I don't recommend playing this game, but if you can take friendly competition, this game was amazing. But that's pretty much all there was to it. But it was fun. I mean, if you have a girlfriend and you're trying to get her into gaming, this is the only game you need to get her on. WarioWare can't even touch this. I wish somebody would make this for the Wii. It would work great. Sort of. The only thing more I can tell you about this game was it was big, and the characters were robots, I think. There was like a blue and a red one. But that's all I can really tell you. It was big, it was on a handle that rotated on an axis of 180 degrees. You were moving it left and right, or at least as far as it could go without hitting the other person. It was hysterical. Now for the last game. And much like the one I talked about before, this one actually just breaks my heart that they never brought it to the home console. It was made by Midway, and I guarantee you that if they had come out with a home console version of this, they would not have been going bankrupt, or at least in some kind of financial debt, or whatever the heck they're in. The game was called The Grid. Now you can see this game in my favorites. I had to favorite the screenshot of this, well, not the screenshot, but the actual video gameplay of this. Here's how this one works. It's a deathmatch, okay? It's 3D running around, and your objective is to kill as many people as you can, aka everybody else in the arena. Don't worry, they respawn, but you're supposed to get the most points in order to advance to the next round. It pretty much was Smash TV, but in 3D and with a lot of crazy weapons. To relate it to today's date, it'd be more like Mad World, but without the profanity and in color. The weapons in this game was what really made it shine, and the way it worked in an arcade game was, you know that round ball that was used for Centipede? We used that to aim. So the controls worked very well. They were smooth and responsive, and they were just fantastic. And the weapons? Picture this. A cannonball gun. You pretty much shot out this cannonball, it looked blue, and if it hit somebody, they go flying up against the wall and bam, they're dead. Then there were other crazy ones like cutters and flamethrowers, spears. This game was just amazing. It was fun and addictive. I can't tell you how much money I spent on this and the few years that I got to know it. What's even better though, well, okay, maybe not so much better, but what was good about it, or interesting about it, it had a password save system. No, you didn't get to play for free, but you could continue where you last left off by entering your username and password that you put into the game. It had a little phone touch-based dial, not a dial, but touch-based buttons on it. So you could actually type in your name and a password. However, that's only good on paper, and that's only good on paper and for home consoles, because if you're stuck at a really hard spot and you keep putting that in, you're going to be wasting money left and right. But yeah, I truly wish that Midway had been smart enough to be able to put that game on a home console. This was during the PS2 and the Xbox era, and in my opinion, this would have worked great on Xbox. I don't have an Xbox, but if this would have worked great for online. This would have taken Halo off their map. This would, or at least given them a second name to be known. You know, whenever you think of Microsoft, you think Halo, and then you kind of have a little trouble thinking of something else, but this would have been the next one. Well, that's my trip down memory lane. And what's your guys' favorites? I mean, what are the games that most people don't know about? Come on, send some comments, make a video response. Just, you know, don't make it like, oh, mine was Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Everybody loved those games. Think of something that nobody else really knew about. Oh, well, that's all I have to say.